All right, good morning. At least it's good morning for me. It's been a little while. I've been meaning to do videos, but busy, running around, out of the habit of speaking on wrestling. But this weekend is the very first real American Freestyle card. RAF is what they're calling it. It's taking place in Columbus, Ohio. I'm here to break down the card and give you my thoughts on not just the organization, but the potential for the future. I'm very, very excited. So we'll start breaking down the card first, and I'll give my thoughts on the organization after. So starting off, we have Nathan Tomasello versus Matt Ramos. This is going to be a really interesting matchup. I do not think Ramos has the experience or savvy to hold off Tomasello. I think Ramos's shot to win this match will be something high-flying, kind of crazy. It's how he's won a lot of his matches in the past. He will get rewarded with like a big four or something of that nature, but I really see Tomasello workmanlike, breaking him down, winning the match. Pretty controlled, in my opinion. Coming up at 155 pounds, we have Yianni Diakomihalis versus Bajrang Punia. So this was a match, I believe, in 2018 or 2019. Might have been 2018. At Beat the Streets. Yianni won narrowly, and this is kind of one of Yianni's big wins in his senior level career. Right now, I believe Bajrang is on the back nine. I haven't seen him wrestle in a while, so it's great to see Bajrang wrestling, but I see Yianni winning this match pretty controllably. I just more have questions about where Yianni's at. Is Yianni going to continue to stay at 70? Will Yianni look to go down? This weight is this match is being contested at 155 pounds. So I'm curious to see how Yianni looks. He just had a surgery on his heart. I hope he's feeling better. I hope this is the best Yianni we ever see. I'm just more curious about Yianni and his future. So I'm picking Yianni in this match, and I'm really, really excited to see him at his best. After that, we have Lance Palmer versus Austin Gomez. I think this is going to be Austin Gomez by murder. A couple years back, many years ago, Lance Palmer was wrestling, not wrestling, he was in MMA still, and he did a match against Jordan Oliver in Agon. That was another professional promotion that was started, I think, by Ben Askren many, many years ago. It didn't really fall all the way through. And Jordan Oliver really pieced up Lance Palmer. Now, Jordan Oliver is a different animal than Austin Gomez. I think Jordan Oliver can compete for a 70-kilo spot right now, and even 65. Jordan Oliver is that good. Austin Gomez is super, super dangerous. Lethal, high flyer. I see Austin Gomez doing something really, really big. I don't think Lance Palmer is in quite the freestyle savvy. Austin Gomez is probably wrestling the best he's ever wrestled. He'll be representing Mexico at the World Championships in about 2-3 weeks. So I think Austin Gomez is pretty much going to murder Lance Palmer. Lance Palmer, if you see this, my apologies, but you're the man. But Austin Gomez is going to take it to you. After that, we have Jason Nolf coming out of retirement in a way, going against Evan Wick. This is going to be, I think, a controlled match by Nolf. When Evan Wick won the Open at 79 kilos, I really saw that weight as essentially whoever, like when I knew Haynes was going to be in the wings, Haynes came out, essentially dominated. I think Nolf would be the 79 kilo rep right now if you want it to be, but he's not, and so he's going to come in here. I think he's going to control this match. I don't see it being a tech. I just see it, if it's tech, it's by some takedowns, but I don't really see any turns from Nolf on top. Controlled match by Nolf, so this should be fun. Hildebrandt versus Hernandez. I'm kind of surprised Sarah came out, but I think this is the cool part about what RAF is trying to do. I think the best part and the worst part about wrestling as a culture right now is that there isn't any sort of competition outside of the tournaments. So when you do get a winner, like a Jordan Burroughs, like, David Taylor, these guys that are Olympic champions, like, it is undeniable they're the best in the world and something to be celebrated, but it's a shame we only care about that. And it's a shame because it's only once a year and it's hard on the body. It takes a lot to be ready for not just the trials, but the tournament, all these different things. I really like the opportunities that RAF is bringing. Just do one match. And then you can end up competing a half dozen times a year. Hell, I heard rumors that they're going to try to do 12 matches a year. That's incredible. You're wrestling once a month, one match. That's great. I think it's a much easier ask than doing the tournaments over and over and over again. makes the matches feel bigger. And I think that's what Sarah's back for. Sarah's back to wrestle a very exciting, fun match. I think she's going to, this might be the best Sarah we've ever seen just because she's had time away, probably feeling really healthy, excited. I don't know if this means she's like back, but I think she will be a regular in this RAF circuit. And I think that'd be a huge thing for that promotion. I think that'd be awesome for them to have Sarah and keep her brand growing, because again, Olympic champion, she can kind of pop back in whenever, but I think her essentially taking these super matches here and there is more exciting. The hard part about wrestling tournaments as well is that you want to see the matchup with the other guy on the other side of the bracket, and they don't always get there. That's exactly what happened with Sarah's Olympic run. There was a weird girl missed weight on the scale, didn't make the finals. Controversy. Sarah Olympic champion, we never got to see that match. So interesting, but moving on. Backwards. Sarah's gonna win, gonna dominate, gonna be probably really nasty too. I think this might be close to murder. And I'm really excited to see her back on the mat. Now we have Real Woods versus Darian Caldwell. Darian Caldwell is an extremely dangerous wrestler, and Real Woods is still in a lot of ways kind of an unknown commodity in freestyle. Yes, he is the rep at 65 kilos, but he lost matches at the Open. We don't really know exactly where Real Woods is at, so this will be really good to see. Real Woods should win this match and should win it controllably. I'm just more curious about what the World Championships will look like in a couple weeks. I hope he remains healthy throughout this match. Nothing crazy happens. He just gets a quick match ready to go. Caldwell should be dangerous, but I don't really see him posing any major threats. And if he does pose major threats to Real, I think we really should be concerned with the future 65 kilos, at least at this World Championship. So I got Real, but Darian, he's a dog. We'll see what happens from there. After, I think this should be the main event, but I'm kind of a homer for Kyle Dake. Kyle Dake versus Dean Hamidi. This is a really interesting match, and I think how this match will go will tell us a lot about Dake and his intended future. I think Dake's in a similar spot like Sarah is, where another Olympic cycle is probably a lot to ask, but one match a month at essentially a catch weight, probably a lot easier to figure out and to manage. I will speak on my experience as a older competitor. I did some tournaments this past spring. It was a lot competing. Now, granted, full-time job, different life. I'm not a pro athlete like these guys, but it was a lot on the body, a lot on the schedule. And I don't know if Kyle wants to keep doing tournaments like this. I think matches here and there, training he enjoys, but the grind of a tournament, I'm not sure. If he dominates here, I'm curious if he wants to drop back to 79, if he wants to continue to win world titles. If he's done pursuing world titles, I wouldn't be surprised if he stays up and just keeps doing matches here and there. I think that'd be really entertaining. Kyle Dake, one of my favorites. I really don't see where Hamidi can pose any threats to Dake, especially since Levi Haines in freestyle really controlled Hamidi. I think Dake would walk through Haines. He's walked through a lot of the guys domestically when he's wanted to. So we'll see how that goes. I got Dake in a controlled match. And I think he's going to go for something big because there's a lot of promotion for this event, and I think they really want to go big. So Dake's he's going to go big, and I'm really excited to see what that looks like. Speaking of going big, we have Kennedy Blades versus Rivera. This is going to be a Blades masterclass. Blades will suplex this girl, and I will be really surprised if she doesn't. They want this, especially his first event. They want something big. They want this to pop. And she's kind of one of their main poster girls. Izzy Martinez, one of the creators of this event, Kennedy Blades grew up in his club, and so this is essentially a tailor-made match. She's gonna go out there, smash, leave, get it done, get paid. Co-main event. I'm kind of surprised this is a co-main, even though I do know Bo is a pretty big star. Bo Nickel versus Cardenas. I think it's Jacob Cardenas. My apologies. Bo Nickel's going to kind of just do what he wants. Bo Nickel's a really hard wrestler to wrestle. He's rather funky, unorthodox, and think people forget just how crafty and dangerous he is in every way possible, and especially a counter offense. He can pin you from anywhere. Excuse me. So I think this is going to be Bo. Kind of lazily. I don't think Bo's going to attack that much. I think Bo's going to essentially wrestle this match like, you come to me, you think you're hot stuff, you want to wrestle me, bring it. I really don't see Bo pushing the pace, attacking that much. I see Bo countering with a pin, doing something in that nature to get the crowd going. And then the main event, Wyatt Henderson with Mustafa Elders. My apologies, need to read that. Make sure it's good. Wyatt Henderson, he's the new Captain America, especially after Kyle Snyder was caught with his pants down. We needed a new Captain America, and Wyatt Henderson was there to take the call. Wyatt Henderson's going to just fly. Can't wait to watch it. I think Wyatt Henderson has a good shot to make the finals and potentially even win a world title this year. We'll see how that goes. So I think this is a great warm-up match for Wyatt Henderson going to the World Championships. And I'm just excited, Hopefully this Captain America doesn't get caught with their pants down. And I think Wyatt Henderson has a really, really bright future, especially with Mason Paris coming in on the horizon. I like everything that is going on at Oklahoma State. So it is exciting to see him on the mat, and Dean as well. So again, going back to Dean and Dig, I think there is potential there for Dean. I haven't seen it yet. And so got to see it to believe it. So that's the card. Going back to the promotion as a whole, I'm optimistic about how this is gonna go. I believe there's ambitions for another event this year. That's what I heard, maybe in December, which would be great. I would love that. I'm really curious how they want to go about this in terms of like an event organization. If they're doing it once a month, that's great. The other questions I have regarding Real American Freestyle is like, what are the payouts? Because I do know from just conversations and rumors that in the past when pro events have been put together, it's really, really difficult to do so because these athletes, one, don't see the point in it, and then number two, think they're not getting paid enough. And I believe, from my understanding, this is not one where they're getting paid a lot per match, but then since there will be more matches, them getting paid can then accumulate over time. Since one match a month, they compete every month. Let's say it's, I don't know, $5,000 a match, which I think would still be a little too much pay for some of these guys, depending on their market value. It's still a good amount of money coming their way, coming other sponsorships or apparel. So there is opportunity for these guys to make some good money. I just curious what the purse is, and I'm curious how often they're going to continue to go about this. And additional streaming rights as well. They're on Fox Nation, and I think that's a fine platform. So I'm just curious. Like, this is gonna, I think, in my memory, there's been Agon, that was one that Askren did, and there's been a handful of others. These really never get off the ground. There's a lot of promotion going into this right now. There's always something getting posted by somebody. So there is a lot of potential here, and I don't think it's ever been easier to get a promotion off the ground. You have Misfits with their boxing. Dirty Boxing Championships with Mike Perry is bigger than ever. Then you have bare knuckle boxing. You can have a fringe combat sports promotion and it do well. You just need to market it correctly. And the biggest problem with the wrestling market is that we're not used to paying. A lot of wrestling has come from charity. Many wrestlers got their first pair of shoes from their coach, or when they shoes broke, they got another pair, or they were told not to worry about it. The gear that they had on their high school team was the gear from last year that they just washed. It's rare wrestlers will pay, which is why wrestling always struggles to get off the ground. And I don't even know if every time there's been a pro event, the athletes have maybe asked for too much. That is a real concern and probably a real thing that happened. But the reason why it didn't work because they didn't command enough attention, or maybe if they did command that enough attention, that attention they commanded did not have a monetary value that went with it. You can have 10,000 eyeballs, but are 1,000 of them willing to pay, or 2,000 of them willing to pay? And that's the biggest barrier to entry. Flow Wrestling to this day gets grief from their customer base because of pay. There's a paywall, and until there is essentially an audience that isn't just willing to watch, but willing to pay for the event and watch, it's going to be really hard. The other thing that I'm mildly concerned about is the fact that I believe they're changing the rules ever so slightly. I believe it might be 3 2-minute periods, or 3 2-minute periods. So there might be 2 breaks instead of 2 3-minute periods. So I don't love that. I was talking to some other athletes in the Muay Thai world, and they discussed like, oh, why can't Muay Thai get big? Muay Thai can't get big because there's an established rule set. Same problem jiu-jitsu has, and this is the same problem wrestling has. There's 4 styles of wrestling, I believe. Yes, 4. Freestyle, folk style, Greco, beach. And then now we're adding this other one. Now there's claw. Claw is cool too. They're trying really hard as well. But having different rule sets just confuses the audience more than anything. So I'm really curious to see how this rule set comes out. Again, I think they're not changing much more than that. I do believe the last person to score wins for criteria in terms of those who know the UWW rule set. So it will be really interesting to see how this goes. We'll see. I hope to see a lot of these athletes compete on a regular basis. The more they compete, I think it's better. Kyle Dake is a great name to continue to compete. He is an interesting figure. I hope to see Jordan Burroughs do one of these. I wouldn't be stunned if we see him compete at the end of this year. I know he wants to compete. Now, does he want to compete for a world title again? I don't know. Does he need to compete for a world title again? Jordan Burroughs versus maybe Kadi Magomedov, which I saw Kadi Magomedov wearing a shirt, which was sick. Kadi Magomedov versus Jordan Burroughs or Kyle Dake again. Like, just give me these super matches. I'm all in for super matches. I don't need it to be a world title on the line. They all have their accolades somewhere else. Put them on the mat, make it one match, shake hands, let's see what happens. There's a lot of potential here. Execution will be key. Will the wrestling audience not just be willing to pay, continue to be willing to pay? And then what storylines will come from this event that will make the next viewing like a necessity? The best part about the UFC is the second that fight's done, we have the next event ready. Right now, if Jordan Burroughs is in that audience, and then the winner of like Dean Hamidi and Dake is like, I want Burroughs next, we have a storyline, right? If Lance Palmer calls out Jordan Oliver, or who's gonna Austin Gomez calls out Jordan Oliver after this, we have a storyline, right? Wrestlers aren't used to having storylines. We need to build the storylines because the tournament itself is a storyline. They beat 5 people on the way to the finals. Great. What is the storyline for RAF? What are they setting up next? That's the biggest thing. What's next? This weekend's going to be fun. There's going to be some great action. What is after? How are they going to set that up? And how is that going to set up the next 5 events? Those are my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed. I don't know which episode this is. I woke up early. I meant to go to the gym and swim. The pool's closed. So, not the best start to the day, but a great start now because then I did a video. That's all I got. All love. Peace.